So I've been talking for the last minute. All right. So good evening, everybody. I'm Oliver Perry. Back again to the IG family. Was not connected on my doggone. What is this thing? My mic. My mic was muted, so it's all good. So anyway, so today is day 10 of the 500K 30-day 500K challenge. And obviously, I goofed up at the very beginning of this thing and started talking with the thing on mute, but we're here now. And this is the 500K challenges to raise funds for real estate investing, both on the multifamily side as well as the single family side. But today I wanted to talk about a topic. I actually had a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday, and this came up in our talk. It's something that he's dealing with within his house, and something that he's talking about and discussing. And I wanted to discuss it with you guys because I think it's important that it is a topic that's talked about, because everybody isn't talking about it. And that's dealing with the fear when it comes to real estate investing. And there's a lot of people who have a fear of real estate investing for various reasons. Quite a few of them had really bad experiences, of course. Quite a few were around when 2008 happened and you had that huge tank in the market. Additionally, you've also got those who just are afraid because they're uncomfortable of losing. They're afraid of losing their shirt. Long story short, what's up, Q? They're all concerned about what's happening there, and they're all curious as to what that is and how to go about doing it. But because that fear is basically running what they do or don't do, they are kind of stuck out of line and unaligned with what they're supposed to be doing. So, real quick, I've got a couple things that, maybe not real quick, but quick enough. I've got 3 things we're going to talk about. 3 things I'm going to go over. 3 points, 3 ways that you can deal with this kind of thing, or that you can help someone else deal with it. And they're really easy, really simple. It's nothing, no rocket science. It's just simple stuff that they can do to go about solving and alleviating this problem and being able to take that first step into real estate investing. Because I believe once you take that first step, everything rolls downhill, because at that point you're in it. At that point you're playing the game, right? So you're either going to keep going or you're not going to keep going. But once you do the first one and you see it's not as scary as you thought it was, you're going to keep going. So first point, do the research. The reason people are uncomfortable almost all the time is because they're too busy seeing what's on television, just like with anything else. In the military, this is a huge issue when it comes to deployment. Spouses will be worried and nervous and uncomfortable because their spouse is going on deployment and they're going to Iraq, Kuwait, Afghanistan, wherever it is. And they'll see what's on the news, CNN, Fox, NBC, ABC, all these channels, and it's literally the most scary thing that they can find. They put it on the television. So the spouse doesn't know one way or the other. They don't know that Iraq is just like living in Chicago or Atlanta or wherever else. Yes, there's really bad pockets. There's also really good pockets. There's places where things like this aren't going on. There's places where things aren't going at it and people aren't attacking each other and things of that nature. So it's all common sense. It's all simple things that happen. Hey, Jason. So what's happening is that because you don't have the research, done, and you haven't looked into the market or understand what the market looks like, or understand how things work in the market, or done your research on real estate investing itself, you're afraid. But you're always going to be afraid of what you don't know and don't understand. It's human nature. We've all seen this in movies. People are in alien movies or whatever else. People are always afraid of what they do not understand. And the nation has the history of it too. Everybody's done it. Everybody's experienced it in some form or fashion. And with that being the case, the way to solve that problem is to do the research. What you can do is there's quite a few books you can get, and I will put you on to a couple right now. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I've got quite a few books here. But first one, the book on real estate investing with no and low money down. This is by Bigger Pockets. Bigger Pockets, Brandon Turner. Very good book. One that'll help quell those fears and get you started. Next, How to Invest in Real Estate. Another book by the Bigger Pockets team. I'm trying to see if I've got one that's not by the Bigger Pockets team on here. I've got quite a few by the Bigger Pockets team. Oh, that's one. Nope, that's five. That's Bigger Pockets too. So as you can tell, Bigger Pockets might be one of the best places to go on to learn more about real estate investing. Bigger Pockets has a lot of information out there that I found helpful, and a lot of the people that I know of have felt helpful as well. One other thing that you can do is you can go on to what is it called? Bigger Pockets, of course, but you can go and look at Rich Dad Poor Dad. Sorry, I have brain fart there for some reason, but Rich Dad Poor Dad is a good book to get you started. And normally that is a lot of people's first kind of foray, whatever, their first exposure to real estate investing. And that's where Robert Kiyosaki really goes in deep on real estate investing and ways to invest in real estate and what real estate can do for you. I'm really trying to find a book up here that's not by Bigger Pockets, and a good chunk of them are. Anyway, I'll think of another, and I'll actually do a video that'll have all of the ones that you can find and where you can find them, and I'll put it on my YouTube, and I'll drop the link. It'll show up on my Facebook page as well as my YouTube. If you haven't joined my YouTube or subscribed, please go check it out. Type in The Oliver Perry and you'll see me, or yeah, you'll see The Oliver Perry. It's an O logo. You'll see that, and you'll be able to keep up with what's happening. And I'm constantly posting there at least once a week, sometimes twice, depending. And also I'm on a bunch of other platforms, and we'll get to that in a bit. But now that we're through that, research. To review, research is a huge thing. Make sure you do the research. You're afraid because you don't understand. You don't understand because you haven't taken the time to sit down and research. You don't want to read? That's fine. Go to YouTube. You can go to my YouTube. You can go to Bigger Pockets. Again, Bigger Pockets YouTube. You can just look up Brandon Turner's YouTube. You can look up Active Duty Passive Income. You can look up all these places, and you're going to find somebody who's going to tell you about how they did it and how you can do it as well. And that's another step that you can take. Now, next thing, create rules. Now, after you've done all this work, you've done all this research, you're gonna have to understand the math that goes behind real estate investing. When you come up with this math, find out what the best math is for you. What this means is have a set of rules. In real estate investing, in single family, they have something called the 2% and the 1% rule. Same rule. You can look it up and take a look, but it's the same rule for both sides, just a different number dictating how much you can spend, how much you don't spend. What this does is it gives you your left and right boundaries on what you can and cannot do for yourself when you go into investing in real estate. So it's a mechanism that's not only meant to help you to find the right property, but it's also a mechanism meant for you to keep yourself in the right spot. Think of it as a budget just specifically for your real estate investing criteria. So if you want to say invest in somewhere that's not the hood and things are being destroyed constantly, somebody's camping out on houses, things of that nature, you're going to want to avoid D and lower class C properties. So that's a rule. That's one thing you don't want to have to deal with, right? At the same time, let's assume you want to actually make cash flow. You want to make an abundant amount of cash flow, and you want it to come consistent and clean on a monthly basis. Well, first thing you're going to do is you're probably not going to go get an A-class property, because A-class properties, as great and wonderful as they are, they're not always cash flowing because you have to pay a higher price for that. So you're automatically going to put yourself behind the 8 ball when it comes to that. Now, if you're looking for an equity play and looking to increase the value of your property, maybe an A-class property isn't the bad thing to do, or a higher B-class isn't the bad thing to do. So have these rules laid out for yourself so that when you go into it, you're playing in the space that you feel comfortable. Never put up money that you're not willing to lose, period. Point blank and period. Now, this is, again, the difficulty and part of where the fear comes from. You're afraid to lose your shirt, but yet you can lose your shirt working at the job you're working right now. At least with this, you have control. You have a modicum of control of how it goes, who you hire, who you don't hire, and you're going to learn the lessons and improve inherently because you're in the game and you're doing the work and you're learning it. And after this point, you've done your research. You should already be okay anyway, because you're going to know what's happening in that area based off the research you've done, and you're in a comfortable place. So that's number 2. Number 3, partnerships. One of the best ways to combat the issue of a fear when it comes to just about anything, be it real estate, be it stock investing, be it surfing, whatever it is, you can go and find someone who's already done it, who's already in the place that you want to be. And this is where, things like YouTube comes in, where things like IG comes in, LinkedIn, Bigger Pockets, Connected Investors, your local REI meeting. And what that is Real Estate Investing Association. They have meetings in your area, in every area. And if they don't have one, create one. And now you've got your REI. But this is a matter of you taking the time to go out and meet people. Even if you're an introvert, if you go on you go on to LinkedIn and you spend time on LinkedIn and contact people, talk to them about what they're doing, learn more about what they're doing, someone's going to say yes to working with you and to helping you learn. Or you can always pay to play, if you will. You can go find a course that will teach you how to do the work, how to do the research, how to find the right property, what the numbers look like, what's the best thing you need to do to invest, how much money do you need, all these things. It'll lay it all out in a course, but you have to go and find those things. But for you, the best way to combat fear, as I said before, is to have a partnership and be okay with making less money. Here's the thing. You can't go into a situation looking to make 50-50 and you're not bringing anything to the table. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work, right? That's why you have so many people out in the world who will do these partnerships, and we're talking marriages at the point. They'll do a marriage and it's a 50-50 thing, but they're not bringing something to the table. That marriage doesn't normally work out, because if you're not actually bringing something to a 50-50 game, you're not going to get 50-50 results. If my wife is doing 100% of the work, what am I to expect? She's not going to be happy. And because she's not going to be happy, she's going to leave that situation, as any of us would. So the same thing would go to your partnership with whoever it is. If you don't know anything about real estate investing, be okay with sitting down with that person and saying, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to find the deal. I'm going to leave everything else to you, but I want to be able to be in your pocket as it happens. I want to learn everything. I want to understand it all, the whole nine. My very first wholesale deal, when I was wholesaling, my very first deal came from me working for free. I worked 3 to 4 months for free doing research. Shout out to Luke Neubauer, my mentor, who's in Louisville, Kentucky. So he said, hey, Oliver, I'm going to hire you. You can work for me doing the research for all these probate properties. I went through approximately almost 2,000 records over that time frame, day after day after day after day, 50 and 75 and 100 and 200. I cranked them out during the weekends. I was constantly in records, constantly looking up probate, looking up, family members, looking up anybody I could find that might be tied to this property. And I gave Luke the information. Luke did the rest. Ended up getting my very first deal from doing that for Luke. But I worked for free. Don't expect to get something and you're not bringing anything. So look for a partnership where somebody will be willing to let you partner with them, and you're going to make less, and be okay with making less, because the relationship you get from that and that little bit of money you get is going to be far, far more valuable. Particularly the relationship itself is going to be far more valuable than you going for that, getting 50-50, and now you have a bad name in the street because the person you work with doesn't believe in you because you didn't do any work. You didn't do anything. So you got to make sure that you're taking these things into account and you're doing these things. So those are 3 ways that you can fight the fear of real estate investing. And really with anything, the same rules apply to all the things. If you're afraid of football, do the research on how to play football. Go out and figure out the rules. Figure out how you're going to train, get from point A to point B. And then find somebody who's going to help you learn. Right? It's these 3 rules can work for just about any and everything. You just to, you just at the end of the day have to do the work. If you don't do the work, you're always going to be afraid. But if you let that fear control you, you'll never go anywhere. You're going to stay in the same spot you are right now. You don't like your job? Well, being afraid of your job or being afraid to leave your job isn't going to help you get out of that job. You got to figure out what the next step is going to be. It's really that simple. So to review, first thing is research. Second thing is create rules. Third thing is to find partnerships. This is how you combat your fear in real estate. Now, I've got to go for now, but please feel free to follow me here on my IG or my YouTube or my Facebook. On all platforms, you can look at The Oliver Perry, and I should come up. I will also leave a Calendly link in this particular video, at the bottom of this particular video, so that you can schedule a 15-minute call if you like, and we could talk more about real estate investing, or we could just catch up and see how I might be able to help you with whatever you're doing. All right, so in the meantime, I've got to go. Remember, you're better than you were, but you're not half as good as you're going to be. I'll see you next time.